That's it. I can't take it. I gotta hit the road.
Welcome to the West is Big channel, which is dedicated to helping you explore the West. This video is a little bit different than most. While I've been to Big Bend a couple of times, it was long before I started making park videos. This video was made mostly by the park system, and it's in the public domain. I've decided to post it to see if there's enough interest in the park to justify me spending a week or two in the park, and a couple of months editing one of my very comprehensive video guides. Big Bend is in a remote place on the Rio Grande, and that's one reason it's one of the least visited national parks. Please leave a comment to let me know if you think I should go on down there and make one of my very detailed park guides on Big Bend National Park.
You're watching Inside the Big Bend. Scenic vistas, diverse wildlife, historic sites, all these rank among the features that visitors enjoy in Big Bend National Park. As one of the last remaining wild corners of the United States, Big Bend National Park is a place where you can experience unmatched sights, sounds, and solitude. Nestled into the southwest curve of Texas, over 1,200 square miles of open land invite you to explore, wander, and linger. In addition to 100 miles of paved road, over 150 miles of dirt roads wind through the park, as do some 200 miles of hiking trails. Sometimes considered three parks in one, Big Bend National Park includes mountain, desert, and river environments. An hour's drive can take you from a mountain basin over a mile high to the banks of the Rio Grande. Elevations span over 6,000 feet, from 1,800 feet at Boquillas Canyon to over 7,800 feet atop Emery Peak. This wide range of elevation produces an exceptional variety of plants, animals, and scenic vistas. The Big Bend provides almost limitless opportunities for hiking, camping, biking on dirt roads, horseback riding, and other backcountry adventures. Additionally, the Rio Grande borders the park for 118 miles, giving river runners the option of floating canyons or open water by raft, canoe, or kayak. But what if you have only one day? If you have only one day for your first visit to Big Bend National Park, here are a few suggestions. A great place to start is the Panther Junction Visitor Center, located in the middle of the park. Remodeled and updated in 2008, the Visitor Center features excellent exhibits, a comfortable bookstore stocked with titles on all aspects of the park, and a helpful staff to answer your questions. It's also a good place to find out about current road conditions, weather forecasts, recent wildlife sightings, temporary restrictions, and to obtain any needed permits. Be sure to make the short drive into the Chisos Mountains to take in the spectacular views. On the road up Green Gulch, the vegetation changes quickly as it climbs toward Panther Pass. The road then winds down steeply into the Chisos Basin, which showcases the Basin Window, Casa Grande Peak, and Emery Peak. Plus, you'll find overnight lodging, a restaurant for a wide range of appetites and pocketbooks, and one of the park's 3 campgrounds and camper stores. Walk the short self-guiding window view trail to get a better feel for the mountain scenery. Benches are located at a number of places along the trail, and it is wheelchair accessible. This trail provides one of the better sunset viewpoints in the park. If you're in the mood for something moderately difficult, hike the Lost Mine Trail, which begins near the summit of Panther Pass. The Lost Mine Trail is an excellent introduction to the plants and animals of the Chisos Mountains. The trail starts at an elevation of 5,600 feet. It then climbs steadily for 2.4 miles to a promontory just under 7,000 feet, which looks down into Pine Canyon and Juniper Canyon, away south into Mexico, and up toward the high Chisos Mountains. If you don't want to hike the whole round trip of 4 3/4 miles, one of Big Bend's greatest viewpoints is from the saddle about 3/4 of a mile in. The 31-mile Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive offers a taste of the Chihuahuan Desert and the Rio Grande. You'll find a diverse array of overlooks, exhibits, and short trails. At the very end of Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive is the mouth of Santa Elena Canyon, one of Big Bend's most scenic spots. You absolutely don't want to miss it. Since it's at the far end of the paved road, you may want to make it your first stop. Walk the short trail into the mouth of Santa Elena Canyon. The view from there is one of the grandest spectacles in the park. You'll be surrounded by towering 1,500-foot vertical cliffs of solid limestone. If the trail is flooded or otherwise too challenging, you can gaze into the mouth of the canyon from the shaded Santa Elena Canyon overlook nearby. A few miles back the way you came is the Dorgan Sublette Trail, which showcases a farm that operated in the Rio Grande floodplain nearly a century ago. 8 miles east of Santa Elena Canyon, the Castellon Historic District preserves a trading post once utilized by communities along both sides of the Rio Grande. Today, its La Harmonia store offers shade and refreshments. As you make your way north up Ross Maxwell Drive, there are a number of worthwhile stops. The short trail into narrow Tough Canyon leads to cool air, even on warm days. The Mule Ears are a pair of towering volcanic dikes revealed by erosion. Sotol Vista offers a sweeping panorama of the west side of the park and deep into Mexico. You can glimpse into Big Bend's ranching past at the well-preserved ruins of the Homer Wilson Ranch Line Camp and the well-watered shade trees of the former Sam Nail Ranch. If your vehicle and road conditions permit, you can make Santa Elena Canyon and the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive part of a loop. The Old Maverick Road is 14 miles of graded gravel that starts at the west entrance to the park. It passes Lunas Hakal, a well-preserved example of traditional earth-sheltered walk dwelling. If it's a river trip you want, two possibilities are Hot Springs Canyon within the park and Colorado Canyon just outside the park in Big Bend State Ranch. There are several commercial river outfitters in the area from which to choose, or you can get a private permit from the park and float the river on your own, with your own or rented gear. The lofty forest of the Chisos Mountains, the open expanse of the Chihuahuan Desert, the towering cliffs above the Rio Grande. Whatever you choose to do, you're likely to find what many others have. In one day, you've only scratched the surface of possibilities within Big Bend National Park.
Big Bend is a harsh place. It's a dry and very hot desert environment. Both times I visited, it was over Memorial Day weekend. And the first time I made the mistake of camping near the Rio Grande, in the low country, where the temperature hit 107. This was a pretty big mistake. The next time I stayed in one of the rooms on the mountaintop, where it was much cooler. This next segment was made by the park system to help visitors prepare for the harsh conditions.
You're watching Inside the Big Bend.
What are the chances of seeing a mountain lion here?
How many people have been mauled by the bears here?
How often do people get bitten by rattlesnakes?
Are those big hairy tarantula spiders poisonous?
Is it safe to be so close to the border here?
At Big Bend National Park, employees hear and answer these questions daily. But while we encourage visitors to be concerned for their safety, other serious issues are much more common here. By far, the most risky thing you can do in Big Bend National Park is travel by vehicle. You can greatly increase your chances of an incident-free visit if you always wear your seatbelts, never drive when under the influence, drive only when you're well rested, and, most importantly, you always obey the posted speed limits. While they may seem slow, there are good reasons for them. Park roads have narrow lanes, steep or no shoulders, sharp curves, rough pavement, but most of all, look out! Abundant wildlife. Deer, javelina, rabbits, snakes, birds, coyotes, bears, mountain lions, spiders, and even toads can appear suddenly and seemingly out of nowhere. Drought conditions are especially hazardous since the only fresh greenery may be at the pavement edge. But wildlife can create a road hazard even when it's well off the pavement. Remember, too, that you share the road with bicycles, so slow down and stay alert. The sun is the second leading cause of serious visitor problems at Big Bend National Park. Even on cool days, it's easy to underestimate how much moisture and salt your body is losing. Your kids are even more vulnerable. If you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So ask the locals for current advice on how much water to carry and how often to drink and eat. Minimize caffeine and alcohol. Keep your head and body shaded with a hat, loose clothing, and plenty of sunscreen. Avoid hiking in the heat of the day. Getting stranded or lost is the third most common cause of serious visitor problems here in the park. With over 800,000 acres of remote mountain, desert, and river, visitors to Big Bend can wander and explore to their heart's content. But with this freedom comes risk. Every year, park staff must rescue hikers and motorists who overestimate themselves. Talk to the park staff about road, trail, and weather conditions. Plan hikes and drives within your ability. Take along a map and a compass and know how to use them. Make sure your footwear and all of your gear is in good shape. Take extra water, food, clothing, bright flashlights, and a first aid kit, just in case. If you drive the back roads, make sure your vehicle is in good condition and has a good spare tire, a working jack, and other emergency equipment. Always be sure someone knows where you are going and when you expect to return. Remember to obtain a backcountry use permit before heading out overnight. If you do get lost or injured, stay in one place to conserve water and energy. Cell phones may not work where you go, so know how to signal for help. Carry a whistle and a signal mirror. If your vehicle breaks down or gets stuck, stay with it. It is much easier for us to find a car on the road than a person walking through the desert. Wildfire is a possibility in the Big Bend, especially when grass and shrubs are brown and dry. Wood or ground fires are not permitted in the park, and some restrictions may apply to the use of gas stoves, charcoal grills, and cigarettes. Check with a ranger for the latest information. Okay. So what about all those wild critters? Big Bend is bear and mountain lion country, especially the Chisos Mountains. But mountain lion sightings are as unusual as they are exciting. Most of the lucky few who do see a lion will be traveling in their vehicles. Big Bend's lions are truly wild. That means they think people are the top predators. Even so, never let children run ahead or lag behind you on trails. In the rare chance you encounter a mountain lion when you're on foot and it moves toward you, do not run. Do not turn your back. Hold your ground. Group together and pick up small children. Wave your arms to make yourself look big and shout. If the lion doesn't go away, throw rocks and sticks. Prepare to defend yourself aggressively if need be. Day packs and other objects make effective shielding. Report all sightings to a ranger. Much about lions is true of our black bears. However, there has never been a case here where a bear has attacked a human. If you encounter a bear or bears while on foot, the best policy is to back away slowly. Again, do not run, and report all sightings. As for other wild mammals you might see wandering about, do not allow them to get near you. Although they sometimes appear tame, all of them are unpredictable. Never feed any of Big Bend's wildlife. Store all food, coolers, cooking utensils, and toiletries in a hard-sided vehicle, preferably in the trunk or in your campsite's bear-proof box. Dispose of all garbage in the bear-proof trash cans and dumpsters. Other animals to watch out for, especially during warm weather, include venomous snakes, scorpions, spiders, and centipedes. But your chances of being bit are tiny, as long as you pay attention to where you walk and place your hands, and you always use a flashlight at night. Inspect your shoes and sleeping bags or bedding before use, and consider wearing high boots while hiking. But as for those great big tarantula spiders, they are quite harmless. Remember, all wildlife in the park is protected by law. Last, but not least, is the question of border safety when visiting the park. Big Bend National Park shares 118 miles of border with a remote region of Mexico. although they get little use compared to elsewhere on the border, precisely because it is so rugged and so remote. Visitors should be aware that smuggling routes pass through the park. If by chance you see any activity which looks illegal, suspicious, or out of place, do not intervene. Withdraw and report it as quickly as possible. A few simple steps can help keep Big Bend National Park safe for everyone.
Okay, that's a brief intro to Big Bend National Park. So what do you think? Should I go there, spend a week or so shooting, and another month or so or 2 months editing? Please leave a comment and let me know what you think.